Summer may be over, but the biggest national news story of summer 2014 was all about a trend that's still unfolding. That news story was the fatal police shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown and what followed in Ferguson, Missouri. The still unfolding larger trend is the decline in freedom. I don't mean some abstract decline in freedom, but instead a decline that's measurable. We've quantified it in several ways. More on that below, but let's look first at what the decline in freedom looks like to people and communities via the August 9th shooting of Michael Brown. It began as a local story in the St. Louis suburb of Ferguson. Yet the ensuing spiral of action and reaction between citizens and cops in Ferguson was relayed on social media in real time, in turn that attracted national news coverage. Thus the images and reports of the turmoil in Ferguson remained a page-one story for most of August. Public anger was widespread, which often happens when one story suddenly reflects a widespread sentiment or mood. In this case, it was the public perception of freedom or a loss in freedom. One of the strongest subplots in the Ferguson news coverage was militarization of the police. In the initial community protests, hundreds of police arrived at the scene, literally equipped to go to war. Again, you're not looking at a sniper in Afghanistan, but at a Ferguson cop pointing his weapon at demonstrators. In truth, the militarization issue is not new, and here's where the data comes in. In the past decade or so, the U.S. Department of Defense has transferred military equipment to thousands of cities and towns around the country. This equipment is free to local police agencies and has few strings attached. The main one is that cops must use the equipment within 1 year of receiving it. Now, since at least April 2010, we've said civil society faces a rising trend in authoritarianism. In a February 2012 follow-up article, we specifically discussed militarization. And all along, we've said that an anti-authoritarian backlash is a huge part of that bigger trend. The Ferguson story embodies all of this and more. Our most recent issue of the Socionomist includes this powerful evidence-based depiction of what declining freedom looks like when authoritarianism grows, especially the huge decline in the public's perception of freedom, which by itself reveals why Ferguson has been so resonant for so many people. The chart and the article about how authoritarianism is the new normal give you a context that no one else is writing about. The conflict between authoritarianism and the anti-authoritarians is showing up in countless ways, from the streets to the courts. Get insights on these issues and a lot more by following the link below. Thanks for listening. I'm Robert Folsom.